All right, everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're going to Wales. We're going to be exploring St. David's Day. You know, daffodils and leeks and parades and all that. We're going to be using the Wikipedia article on St. David's Day as our main source. It's got a lot of good info on the history and the traditions, and even a little bit of controversy.
Yeah, it's really interesting how such a simple celebration can have such deep roots and so many different ways it's celebrated.
It really is. So, first things first. Who was St. David? What's the story behind the man?
Well, Saint David, or Dewi Sant in Welsh. He was a pretty interesting guy for the 6th century. He was born into a noble family so he could live the life of luxury, but instead he chose a path of teaching and simple living, and he founded a monastery at Glenrosen, which later became the site of St. David's Cathedral, a very important place even today.
So he was kind of a rebel in his own way, going against the grain. And we celebrate him on March 1st, which that's not just a random date, right?
You got it. March 1st marks the date of his death in 589 AD, and legend has it that his final words to his monks were, "Brothers, be constant. The yoke which with single mind ye have taken, bear ye to the end, and whatsoever ye have seen with me and heard, keep and fulfill." Pretty powerful stuff.
Yeah, talk about leaving a lasting impression. It's like even on his deathbed, he's urging them to stay true to their values and continuous work. Okay, so fast forward to today. How does all of that translate into the celebrations we see now?
Well, it's a really vibrant mix. You've got the parades with music and dancing, concerts with traditional Welsh tunes,
Yeah.
and then there's the Eisteddfod Fodau, these festivals of literature, music, and performance.
Eisteddfod Fodau, that's a new one for me. Sounds like a real celebration of the arts, a chance for people to show off their talents.
Exactly. It's a huge part of Welsh culture, with roots going way back. And of course, no celebration would be complete without food, right? So picture tables laden with cawl, this hearty Welsh soup. It's like a national institution. And everyone's dressed up in traditional Welsh costumes, you know, those iconic hats and all.
Oh, I love those hats. Such a unique part of the Welsh attire. It all sounds incredibly festive. But there's kind of a shadow hanging over all this, isn't there? Something about its status as a holiday.
Yeah, you're right. Unlike St. Patrick's Day in Ireland, which is a bank holiday, St. David's Day isn't officially recognized in the same way. It's a point of contention for many people, who feel that it should be given equal standing. There was even a petition sent to Tony Blair's office, pushing for it to become a bank holiday. But it was rejected.
A little bit of a political tug-of-war going on there. It really makes you think about how holidays are chosen and who gets to decide what's worthy of national recognition. It seems like a lot of people feel very strongly that St. David's Day should have that honor.
Oh, absolutely. And the debate continues. But even without that official bank holiday status, the celebrations are still vibrant, and the spirit of the day is very much alive. It's testament to how dedicated the Welsh people are to their heritage and to St. David himself.
Yeah, it really shows how much pride they have in their culture and how much they want to see it recognized. And it's not just confined to Wales, is it?
No, not at all. The celebrations have spread all over the place. You can even find St. David's Day festivities at Disneyland Paris. And over in the U.S., the Los Angeles St. David's Day Festival is supposed to be the biggest one in the world.
Wow, that's amazing. It's a real reminder that culture can transcend borders. And it speaks to the strong connections within the Welsh diaspora.
Right. It's about keeping those links to their heritage, no matter where they are in the world. You know, when I was doing some research for this deep dive, I came across a few things that really bring the past to life. Did you know that Welsh soldiers used to wear leeks on the battlefield to distinguish themselves from the English?
Wow, I didn't know that. That's a great visual. It's amazing how something as simple as a leek can become such a powerful symbol.
Yeah, it really is. It was like a badge of pride, a way of saying we are Welsh and we stand together.
And speaking of the history between Wales and England, there's this funny story from the 17th century, the diarist Samuel Pepys. He wrote about how the Welsh celebrations in London would often lead to counter-celebrations by the English. They would even make these gingerbread figures called taffies that depicted Welshmen riding goats.
Oh, wow. A little bit of friendly rivalry there. It's funny how even celebrations could be used to express those historical tensions.
It's true. It adds another layer to the whole story, doesn't it? A reminder that history isn't just about big events. It's about the everyday interactions between people, the cultural clashes and exchanges that shape who we are. And speaking of history, we can't forget the connection between St. David and the legendary Owain Glyndŵr.
Ah, Glendir, the Welsh rebel leader. I've always been fascinated by him. How does he tie into all of this? Well, Glyndwr led a rebellion against English rule in the early 15th century, and he drew a lot of inspiration from a prophecy in a poem called Arms Praedien. This prophecy foretold the unification of the Welsh people under the banner of St. David. It was really powerful imagery.
So St. David's legacy was being invoked centuries later in the fight for Welsh independence. It shows how important these figures and symbols are to the Welsh people.
Exactly. And that's not all. The dragon, which Glyndwr used as his emblem, later became a symbol of the Tudor dynasty. Henry Tudor. He was a descendant of the Welsh Tudors. He became King Henry VII of England, and he brought the dragon with him, incorporating it into the royal banners.
So even though Wales wasn't independent at that point, the dragon was still a powerful symbol of their heritage. It's like a thread running through history, connecting all these different eras and struggles.
Exactly. And that's what makes St. David's Day so interesting. It's not just about one day or one saint. It's about all these layers of history, cultural identity, and national pride. It's all intertwined. So for our listeners out there, why should all of this matter to you? What can we learn from exploring St. David's Day?
It's a good question. It really makes you stop and think about the importance of these celebrations, beyond just the parades and the parties. For me, it's a reminder that traditions can be so resilient. They can change and adapt over time, but they still have that connection to the past. And St. David's Day is a great example of that.
I agree. It really shows the power of culture and identity. And it reminds us that history isn't just something that happened a long time ago, it's a part of who we are today.
It also makes you think about representation. The debate about whether St. David's Day should be a national holiday. It shows how much people want their culture to be recognized and valued.
It does. It's a reminder that everyone deserves to feel seen and heard, and to have their heritage celebrated.
Exactly. From those leek-wearing soldiers to those gingerbread taffies and all the big festivals. It's amazing how many ways there are to celebrate.
It really is. And it shows how creative and resilient the Welsh people are. And we can't forget about the power of storytelling. The prophecies about St. David, the stories about Owain Glyndwr, even Samuel Pepys' funny observations. They all add to the richness of Welsh history and culture.
They really do. It's like every story adds another layer to the bigger picture. Well, before we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with something to think about. If you could create a new tradition for St. David's Day, something that captures the spirit of the celebration, and maybe even helps to bring people together, what would it be?
That's a great question. It really makes you think outside the box.
I'm imagining something that brings people from Wales and England together. Maybe something with storytelling and a bit of friendly competition.
I like that. What about a St. David's Day storytelling slam, where people from both countries could share stories about their shared history?
That's a fantastic idea. It would be a way to acknowledge the past, but also to find common ground and appreciate each other's perspectives.
Exactly. Imagine all the different stories. Stories of bravery and resilience, humor, and maybe even some heartwarming moments of reconciliation.
I love it. A St. David's Day storytelling slam. It's a perfect mix of tradition, creativity, and cultural exchange. Who knows, maybe it could even catch on around the world.
Wouldn't that be amazing? St. David's Day going global, with stories that connect us all.
That would be incredible. Well, that's our deep dive into St. David's Day, a celebration of Welsh heritage, culture, and national pride. We talked about St. David himself, the traditions and the debates, and we even saw how the celebration has spread beyond Wales.
We learned about some fascinating history, the power of symbols and stories, and we even came up with a new tradition.
And most importantly, we saw that St. David's Day is more than just a holiday. It's a reminder of how important culture is and how powerful stories can be. It's a reminder that we can find unity even when we have different pasts.
Yes.
So as you go about your day, let the spirit of St. David's Day inspire you. Embrace your own heritage, connect with people around you, and never forget the power of a good story.
And maybe you'll be the one to start that storytelling slam.
That's right. Until next time, happy exploring. And remember, keep diving deep.